up, y'all? Working on the Z today, and as y'all didn't know, I blew up a bearing in the transmission on this thing, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull the transmission out of this car, and I'm also gonna do the clutch and everything as well. Before I get up in the air, I'm gonna do some of the stuff on top. I already pulled the battery out of here. I have that on the charger since I didn't want this thing to kill the battery while it sits. But first thing I'm gonna do is pull the starter out. It's this thing right here. Now I'm gonna pull the top two transmission bolts off, which are, got one right there. You got one right underneath these heater hoses. Let's see if we can get it right there. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do on top. Once I get that done, I'm gonna jack the car up, pull the slave cylinder off the transmission, and pull the drive shaft out, the transmission mount, or a cross member rather, then pop the transmission out. Oh, and I also got to remove the shifter. That's probably another thing we'll do before I jack it up. That way I get in the car without having it fall on top of me. Anyway, so let me go ahead and do that. I believe all these bolts are 14 millimeters around the bell housing, so I'm going to use my ratchet wrench. I love these things. These are probably my favorite tool other than the hammer. These little ratcheting wrenches with the swivel head on them. So useful. Anyway, I'm going to get that going and get back to you once I pull the starter out, and I'll show you how to pull the shifter apart. The starter's only held in by 2 bolts, so it's not too hard. I'll see y'all in a bit. Alright, so I'm getting ready to pull the shifter out. I already got the center console out of the way. Just 2 screws in the back right here, 1 screw right here, 2 screws up in the front underneath the little cover. Then you got the 4 screws that hold the shifter boot down. Anyway, as you can see, the shifter bushings are non-existent, so I'm gonna replace those 2. Hopefully the shifting will be a lot more firm and accurate. Anyway, so all thing that holds this shifter in is a pin and a little like horseshoe clip on the side right there. Just gotta pop that clip out, and the shifter will literally just pop right out. It's pretty easy. Now, if it's a T5 transmission, you have the 4 screws on this, 4 bolts on the side, and those will come out too. Relatively easy, but this is FS5W71B transmissions, so it's a little different. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and pop that out, and I'll get back to you when I get the car up in the air. Just want to let you know that that's how this comes out. Alrighty, so I got the Z up in the air, and give me a better clue of what I gotta do. Gotta pull that off. There's a couple 2 bolts on the side of it. Gotta pull this inspection plate off. Like 2 bolts on the bottom. I finished pulling the starter out. I couldn't really reach the bolt on the bottom. And there's a couple transmission bolts on the side. Gotta pull cross member out. There's 2 bolts that hold that on. So I'm gonna take that out with the transmission. Might have to pull the exhaust out of the way. Just take her off the cat, and hopefully I can slip it off with this right here. And I gotta undo the drive shaft, which is all the way down there. Which I'm probably gonna have to do that last because I have to lift the whole car up. I'll do that probably before I pull the transmission mount off. There are dowels that hold the transmission onto the engine so you can align it properly. Those will hold the transmission in place while I do the thing, and even then I'll probably just leave this bolt in until all that's done. But until then, I'm gonna pull the slave cylinder off first, and this dust shield, and I'll go from there. Oh, and I also got a couple. I got a plug. I got to unplug for the reverse lights, which is this right here. And I gotta pull the speedometer thingy out of the way, which I think was most of this leak is coming from. It's not gonna be the funnest thing in the world, but definitely not the hardest. Anyway, I'll get back to you once I pretty much got this thing down. I don't know about this weather. It's Florida, so it could just start raining any second now. Anyway, I'll be right back with you as soon as got this thing on the ground and out. Alright, so I'm actually finally getting ready to pull the transmission out. Got the exhaust out. That was a pain. Got the drive shaft out, which wasn't as bad, but I had to remove the exhaust to get the drive shaft out. Also ended up taking the heat shield out. Not really going to need it since this cat is not a cat no more. It's just a big hole. Alright, and so excuse the mess underneath here. Kind of running with my head cut off like a chicken. So I got to take this transmission mount out, which is just 2 bolts. Then I got 1 or 2 bolts left on the bell housing. Let's slide the jack underneath here and wiggle it out, lower it down. It should be all right. Still got to pop the speedo out. I got the bolt out, but I think it's just like stuck in there. I'm gonna have to change the O-ring on that because I believe that's what 90% of these leaks are coming from. Overall, this job is not that hard. It's just, you know, there's a lot of things gotta do and take out, and can be a pain. Overall, it's not too bad. Alright, so let me go ahead and get this thing out and call it a day, because I'm going to have to take this up to a friend to get it rebuilt. New bearings put in, new synchros. Look over everything, make sure everything's alright, then throw the clutch in here, throw the transmission back in, get it back on the road. Anyway, let me pull this the rest of the way out, and I'll be back with y'all. And I got it on the ground. I'm going to probably stick it on the creeper, that way it can roll around the house and whatnot. Anyway, enough chatting. Alright, so I got the transmission out, and it was a little tough on there. I think it was stuck on the dowels, which are this hole and this hole, and maybe that hole too. One of those 4 holes, 4 holes. And but once I got it off the dowels, it slid out, no problem. Kind of got stuck on the jack a little bit, but nothing I could handle. And yeah, I could turn the output shaft. No, it's in neutral. I could turn the output shaft with relative ease, but this input shaft, which is the one you expect to be able to turn, I cannot turn. That throw-up area is definitely a little noisy. But yeah, so I'm a little out of breath right now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take this up to my buddy. He's gonna split it apart, replace all the bearings in it. Well, at least all the main bearings in it. Change out the synchros, and hopefully that'll be enough to get back together and working. That way I can throw it in the car and start using it as a daily driver again. Anyway, it's gonna be it for this video. Y'all know what to do: like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned, because I'm gonna be replacing the clutch on this thing probably after I get this transmission back. And that's about it. Oh, also, when you pull these transmissions out, it's best to pull out these bolts last. Like, get the jack underneath there, get all the bells and bolts out, jack it up a little bit, then pull those bolts out, and that'll make pulling this transmission out a lot easier. Anyway, see y'all in the next video.